For the most part, when I do these reviews, I try to come off and I try to find the positive as far as these reviews and as far as the shows that we witness. Because, sometimes you get a show like we had tonight where there is some good sprinkled in here and there, and there is some newsworthy things. But for the most part, it's a chore to get through. It's a bore to watch. Like tonight, I don't know how many, times within the last couple of weeks I have physically fallen asleep to SmackDown. I don't even know how many times. And that's bad when you go into WrestleMania season. You should not be doing that. You should not be, having a product so stale, so lame that people are just tuning out. And tonight, really, I mean, we had a couple of big things here as far as title changes that kind of got spoiled. We had the Randy Orton Cody Rhodes dilemma. We had further builds to Rhea and Jade for WrestleMania. We had Jelly Roll wrestling on Friday Night SmackDown, which is something that I don't think anybody really called for. So like I said, as far as these shows week to week basis, they really need to step their shit up. Like, I am serious. This is WrestleMania season. This is not the time to be coasting and being safe and taking no risk whatsoever. Like, this is your biggest time of the year. And raise your hand if you felt like that's been the case. So, of course, I wanted to mention here, I guess we might as well start off with Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, because that was the main sort of, tie into this show. They advertised Cody Rhodes, he was going to return here tonight to address Randy Orton, or at the very least, that's what I thought, because we did not see Cody Rhodes until the very last, literally the very last segment of this show, which was the last 5 minutes. It would have been nice to have some sort of, promo from Cody as far as what his thoughts were, considering, how much Randy Orton means to him, and, just the sort of mentor type figure role that he's been in his entire career. But instead, we had him come out here and save Matt Cardona, who, like it or not, dude, this guy is being buried, minute by minute, right? They called him last week a indie geek, a mark, mark ass motherfucker, or whatever the term was. And I know that's coming directly from Triple H. I know that Triple H is not only trying to bury this guy, but trying to make him look as stupid as fuck, which I guess it just runs in the family, right? McMahon did that same shit to Matt Cardona, a decade plus ago, right? 2012. Now Triple H is kind of doing the same. But yeah, Matt Cardona here once again got destroyed by Randy Orton. They had a match. Not much of a match here. Matt against Randy. And then afterwards, like I told you, we had Cody Rhodes come out here and quote unquote save Matt Cardona from Randy Orton. And they had some sort of a little brawl here, a little pull apart brawl to end the show. Eventually, at the end, we see Jelly Roll come out here, and as soon as he came out here and put himself in the middle of this, you kind of had an idea of where this was going to go, right? Because Randy said that he's, starting to listen to the voices, and he can't be held responsible for what the voices do. So he goes and he RKO's Jelly Roll, and this is the big sort of, shocking moment that we have as we go off the air, as Cody Rhodes sort of, consoles Jelly Roll there, a fallen Jelly Roll, and that's how we go off the air. I would have expected something more coming from this. Like I said, I would have wanted maybe an in-ring promo by Cody, something to get his thoughts as far as, what happened a couple weeks ago, or maybe this pull-apart brawl could have been a little bit more intense. There could have been, blood. There could have been steel chairs. There could have been something to add to this rather than just kind of a simple, safe pull apart brawl that we've seen numerous amounts of times in the past with multiple guys. Again, that's just my own 2 cents. We also had Drew McIntyre against Jacob Fatu, made official here for WrestleMania, although it was made a unsanctioned match for WrestleMania. And that was basically that. I kind of would have figured that they were going to go down the route of a Hell in a Cell, simply for the fact of unsanctioned, in a sense, is kind of like a street fight, kind of like a no holds barred type stipulation. And I know it's kind of recent, and Drew kind of had a street fight last year. I believe it was the Sin City street fight with Damian Priest. So I figured it would kind of be somewhat of the same avenue if you did this sort of thing. I kind of figured that they were going to go with the Hell in a Cell simply for the fact of it's a it's a super gimmick match, a Hell in a Cell, right? And it's something that they could put on ESPN because I think that they're covering the first hour of WrestleMania. So obviously, that's something you could attract and put on the ESPN network, or whatever the case is. But that's kind of, mostly what it is. And I wanted to mention this as soon as we had it because we had Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill once again here just absolutely kill their entire WrestleMania feud. I don't even know what their feud is about, really, because we had Rhea come out here and cut a promo against Jade and her baddie stable or whatever they're calling it, made up of a bunch of jobbers, right? BFAB and Michin. Then we had BFAB and Rhea Ripley have a match, and it really went only like 30 seconds after everybody got involved, and Jade laid out Rhea, and that was it. Like, I don't care what you do at this point. This feud fucking sucks. This feud is the shit, man. Like, I don't know how uncreative you have to be to literally copy the same thing you did last week with these two women. Like, it's obvious. It's obvious for the most part that these two women legitimately do not like each other. But that's not coming along as far as like television. Like, sometimes when two guys, they legitimately don't like each other, there is at the very least some sort of entertaining aspect from it. Think Cena and The Rock, from 2012. Think even a Punk and Roman, if you want to mention that, right? That first promo, that felt genuine. This just feels like these two women don't like each other and aren't even going to try. And it also doesn't help that there's literally no story here. Like, you would think WWE, multi-million-dollar company, can come up with at the very least one simple story to tell between these two women, but there isn't. And lastly, I wanted to end off here with Sami Zayn, because there was a segment in the back with Nick Aldis and Trick Williams. Nick Aldis goes over to Trick and tells him, "Congratulations, I have a spot for you at WrestleMania. You are going to be on the WrestleMania card." Along comes Sami Zayn. He asks Nick Aldis whether or not he's going to have a match at WrestleMania. Given the fact of your recent track record and your luck as of late, I don't think there's a spot for you. And then Sami Zayn forcefully says, there is going to be a spot for me and I am going to get on that WrestleMania card. And, if you've seen spoilers, there was a spoiler that went out maybe an hour before SmackDown went on the air. I literally found out about this as this segment was going on, right? That there was a spoiler that Sami Zayn potentially was going to challenge Carmelo Hayes, and again, spoiler, was going to win the U.S. title. So we had Sami Zayn against Carmelo Hayes here for the U.S. Open Challenge. Now, this is a match we've seen numerous amounts of times before. So other than that, it was not very surprising as far as this is a match that we would get. But here was the finish with Trick Williams inadvertently helping Sami Zayn as he punched Carmelo Hayes by accident, giving Sami Zayn an easy layup for the haluva kick, and Sami Zayn takes advantage. 1, 2, 3. Sami Zayn is the new U.S. champion. And, I know there's going to be a lot of people that look at this situation and say Sami Zayn doesn't deserve it and he is being overpushed. He is Sammy Hogan, right? He's politicking his way into winning this championship, and I get the argument of that. I truly do. I look at the fact of, did Sami Zayn need to win the US title? And simple answer is no. He did not need to win the US title. He doesn't need to be holding on to the U.S. title as we go into WrestleMania. And officially now they've made the match Sami Zayn against Trick Williams at WrestleMania. So that's like 100% right now set in stone. But my only sort of gripe here with this whole entire thing is the fact of, Sami Zayn beat Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes now, in a sense, virtually has no direction now for WrestleMania, right? He has no match. He has nothing, considering the fact that this is a guy who has gone out there consistently and had, killer matches with the U.S. Open Challenge. And I would just think that it would be a fucking shame if you have Carmelo Hayes not even be involved in WrestleMania, not even be considered to have a match. So at the very least, I'm okay with this decision if you have this turn into a triple threat between Sami, Carmelo, and Trick. Now, whoever you want to have win that match, that's totally fine, whatever the case is. But at the very least, we have to have Melo, get a spot on WrestleMania, because that would be dirty if Sami Zayn just went in there and won the title and there's nothing left for Carmelo. Again, you guys post down your comments down below. I want to get your, feedback as far as what you think. As far as what you think of Sami Zayn regaining back the US title. Do you think he needs it? Do you think people are making a big deal out of this? What are your thoughts? Because I am genuinely curious as far as what everybody else thinks. So post your comments down below and let me know what you think of tonight's episode of Smackdown. And until next time, I will see all of you on the next one.